Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. This article comes to you guys from Light Reading. I'll leave a link to it in the description so you guys can check it out. So the EchoStar deal already delivering for AT&T. So there's two parts to this deal. The first part is the easy part. And what do I mean the easy part? So the easiest part of this transaction was always going to be the software. Where the radios are deployed, you can do a software update or upgrade during the maintenance window, and you can get this spectrum on air as quickly as possible on sites where this radio is already deployed. And per a recent FCC filing, the DoD radio, the 3.45, is deployed across 24,000 cell towers. So that's the first part. That's the easy part. The second part to this deal is the hard part. You have to deploy the DoD radio across the rest of your network or whatever your planned sites are, wherever you want to deploy it. 24,000 can't be it. It has to be a higher number. 24,000 is probably not even half of the tower sites that AT&T has in its network today. So that's the hard part. That's going to require capital investment to continue to deploy that radio across the network, that mid-band radio. So that's an ongoing project that will take time. It's going to take probably another, I would say, 2 to 3 years of constant deployment of that radio to get it to a scale where we should feel comfortable. Now, the first part that I mentioned, the easy part, is putting it across the 24,000 radios. That's just a flip of a switch. Software, it's still happening. Stanky said it'll complete at the earnings call. That'll be completed mid-November, right around closing in on Thanksgiving. So then the consumer that can take advantage of that, they're going to see higher speeds on their wireless device. This will unlock the acceleration of FWA for AT&T, which will help them with the convergence. So there's more optionality for the customer, and it will allow AT&T to compete differently in 2026, which we'll talk about in another video. So AT&T started deploying EchoStar's 3.45 mid-band spectrum before their transaction is complete with Boost Mobile is migrating customers onto its network. So this is a master lease agreement. I don't know why, when the original announcement was made of the deal, I don't know why AT&T did not include that in their release, but Dish or EchoStar included it in theirs, where it says this can be instantly leased, and as soon as I think the day after, I think that was already movement on that lease. So that didn't take too long. So the deal is done, but AT&T has already, or the deal isn't done. It's not set to close till next year, but AT&T's already started to deploy 3.45, just putting that spectrum to use, pretty much. And it's pro investment, right? That's the second part. The second part, the hard part. It's pro investment because you still have to deploy that radio. So you still have to hire and contract tower climbers to put that radio onto your sites across more sites beyond the 24,000. So that's where it's pro investment. Not necessarily, hey, I'm paying EchoStar $23 billion, which today is still being debated behind the scenes as AT&T perhaps not being as disciplined as possible. You already have spectrum today that you don't have on all your sites, which is the 40 megahertz of DoD. I would have leveraged that first, see how much you can squeeze out of that spectrum, and then maybe delever some more and get ready for upper C-band, get ready for 6 gigahertz, 7 gigahertz. Spending that $23 billion, which many perceive to be overpriced in the resale market, it's still considered, I'm telling you, many people behind the scenes still consider that AT&T overpaid significantly for that spectrum. And even Stanky acknowledged, he said, yes, I know Dish paid less for this spectrum than we did, but he wanted it. So he got it. He wanted that spectrum. They made the deal happen. It's over with now, but it's still being debated as, overpriced. So like I said at the start of the video, it's two parts to this deal. The easy part and the hard part. The hard part is AT&T is going to have to continue to significantly invest in that DoD radio. If it's the dual band radio, so be it. But it's going to be up to AT&T how they go about this. Stanky said, we have all the tools in the toolbox. Now we just need to go and execute. You have a lot of towers out there that have the C-band radio hanging. Do you now take that radio down that you already paid money for, and do you add the new 6472 Ericsson equipment that can do the dual band radio? Is that more beneficial, or is it cheaper to just deploy another 6419 3.45 radio? I don't know which is more economic, which economically makes more sense. AT&T will have to figure that out. I don't know. All I do know is they have to deploy more of it, and that's the hard part, and that's going to require a lot of capital. I think 2026 is what many consider first half loaded for wireless because there's a lot going on. There's the World Cup, Super Bowl, just a lot going on in the first half of 26. So AT&T has to get ready from a networking perspective. So be on the lookout for places like Dallas, some of the cities where the Super Bowl, yes, but where the World Cup is being hosted, the games. Be on the lookout for AT&T to go crazy deploying that DoD radio on sites where it's not deployed. Like Dallas had a lot of sites where DoD was not deployed that they're going back to now, and more aggressively in the first half of next year. And same in some of the other cities where they don't have the DoD radio yet. As we've discussed, not to make this video too long, was it a mistake by AT&T? The radio wasn't ready. So you could make the opinion and argument that you would have waited. AT&T likely decided that the competition was too far ahead in its mid-band deployment and that it would affect them negatively. So they got started with the C-band first anyway, while they waited for the DoD radio to become ready. So that's just where AT&T is today. They are leveraging the asset. Yes, I will acknowledge they are making use of the bandwidth as quickly as they can. Like I said, the first part is easy, 24,000 sites. By mid-November, we'll have the additional spectrum. The hard part is going to take some time. For those of you perhaps who don't have DoD on your sites, or you're still waiting for mid-band period altogether, maybe you're waiting for a Nokia to Ericsson conversion, you guys will just have to wait. It's going to take some time to get that spectrum to real big scale. And it's going to happen, but it's going to take some time. And we'll see how AT&T moves in 26 and 27 on the wireless CapEx. We know the CapEx is high. Some of it might come down. They might bring the CapEx down some to level out with the free cash flow because they lost some free cash flow because of the DirecTV deal. We'll see on the guidance for next year. But again, 60-40 split, 70-30 split, what's the focus? The focus is more on fiber than it is on wireless. So then what do? You prioritize. So you prioritize the cities where there's a Super Bowl next year, the World Cup, and then you're still prioritizing the Nokia to Ericsson conversions because you want to get that off the balance sheet. You want to get that done so you can start realizing the cost savings. So just take all that into consideration as we go through the rest of this year into next year, where AT&T's priorities and focuses are. So let me know your thoughts. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.